kilometers in diameter based on other data. If it's that big, I would actually be quite concerned about it not being natural. Uh,
He recently stated in an interview that if this object is as large as some estimates suggest, he would be, in his own words, quite concerned about it being not natural. An object of that sheer size, he argues, is deeply unusual for an interstellar comet, and it's a concern that we hope the first official photos from the European Space Agency will begin to address. What we're seeing unfold around Mars right now isn't just routine science. It's an unprecedented scramble, a high-stakes pivot that tells us just how anxious the world's space agencies have become. We are now just days away from a critical moment in this entire saga, October 3rd. That's the day 3IA Atlas makes its closest pass by Mars, and it's our one big chance to get a close-up look before it swings around the sun. So, what are we doing about it? Well, NASA and the European Space Agency are pushing their hardware to the absolute limit in a maneuver that really confirms just how seriously they're taking this. We're talking about a rapid activation of orbiters that were never designed for this mission. Think about NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, the MRO. For almost 2 decades, its job has been to map the Martian surface in stunning detail. Now, we're asking it to whip around, lock onto a much smaller, faster-moving target from interstellar space, and capture what could be the most important images of our lifetime. It's an incredible technical challenge. At the same time, we've got ESA's orbiters like Mars Express and the Trace Gas Orbiter retasking their own instruments to try and sniff the chemical composition of the object's coma. We're throwing everything we've got at this thing.
U.S. Army Lieutenant General Mark Hertling and President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haas. Good morning to you both. General, I'll start with you. First of all, how unusual is this in your experience, and what do you suspect is going on here?
Yeah, Willie, if this is usual and this is unusual, we're way out in terms of unusual in this one.
And all of his frantic activity is for one reason: to get the data. The moment those signals are captured and sent back to us, another clock starts ticking. The first data we're expecting to see is from the European Space Agency. We're hearing it could be released within just a few days of the October 3rd flyby. This is huge because ESA's observations are what we call complementary data. It's like getting a crucial second opinion. Their results will either confirm what NASA sees, or they could contradict it, deepening this mystery even further. This initial data drop is the first card to be turned over, and frankly, it could either start to calm our nerves or it could send this whole thing into overdrive. But it turns out this high-stakes scramble isn't just happening with orbiters millions of miles away. What we're now learning suggests a very different and far more secretive kind of preparation is happening right here back on Earth. Just 3 days from now, on September 30th, hundreds of the planet's most powerful military leaders are being summoned to an urgent, unannounced meeting. The question we all have to ask is, why now? We're learning that the U.S. Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, has called this extraordinary session, bringing together his top generals and admirals. This isn't a routine briefing. You don't just call in your entire top brass from around the globe without a world-shaking reason. The official line is silence, but we have to look at the timing. This meeting is happening just 3 days before the Mars flyby and days before we get our first critical data drop from the ESA. It's impossible for us to see this as a coincidence. It feels like global authorities are getting their chess pieces in order, preparing for what they call unconventional outcomes. Outcomes suggested by the deeply strange data we already have. So what is it about 3IA Atlas that has them so concerned? To understand, we have to go back to the central anomaly, the persistent, nagging mystery at the heart of this object, that 17-minute energy pulse. On one hand, we have a perfectly logical scientific explanation. Our latest data shows harmonics at 8.5 and 34 minutes, which strongly suggests that the pulse is simply tied to the object's rotation. It's a plausible theory, the one many scientists are clinging to. But the anxiety persists, and it's because the signal is just strange. For a natural object, a tumbling piece of interstellar rock and ice, to have a signal that is consistent, that clean, it's an outlier. It keeps the debate fierce and the scientific community completely divided. And that's the critical divide we're now seeing play out on a global stage. While our scientists are anxiously debating the source of the signal, it seems our leaders are quietly preparing for the possibility that it's not natural. They can't afford to wait for scientific consensus. They have to plan for the least likely, highest impact scenario. But it turns out, this high-stakes scramble isn't just happening with orbiters millions of miles away. What we're now learning suggests a very different and far more secretive kind of preparation is happening right here, back on Earth.
Now, just as our minds are racing with the implications of an artificial signal, we have to look at another critical piece of data that seems to point in the exact opposite direction. It's a finding that complicates this entire picture, and it has to do with how 3I/Atlas is actually moving. For months, we've been tracking this object's path with incredible precision, and our updated orbital measurements have come back with a result that is, frankly, confusing. The data seems to confirm that 3I/Atlas is moving purely under gravitational influence. What that means is that there are no non-gravitational forces at play. We're not seeing any course corrections, no engine burns, not even the kind of outgassing we'd see from a normal comet that would slightly alter its path. This is a big deal because it weakens the argument that we're looking at some kind of maneuvering probe. It's moving like a dead piece of rock, its path dictated entirely by the pull of the sun and the planets. On paper, this is a huge point for the natural object theory. And yet, how do we square that with everything else we've been talking about? If it's just a rock moving under gravity, where is the perfectly timed 17-minute pulse coming from? How do we explain other strange behaviors that have kept us all on the edge of our seats? This is what is making the debate so incredibly fierce. It's like we're looking at an object with a split personality. It moves like a rock, but it has the heartbeat of a machine. It's these contradictions that are fueling both the scientific anxiety and the high-level geopolitical preparations we're starting to see. This fundamental contradiction, moving like a natural object but pulsing like something artificial, is the central mystery that has everyone stumped. And it's a mystery that only one instrument has a real chance of solving. Everything we've talked about, the scramble at Mars, the urgent military meetings, the deeply contradictory data, it all leads to this moment. The final judgment on 3I/Atlas rests with the single most powerful eye we have ever pointed at the cosmos, the James Webb Space Telescope. We need to mark our calendars for October 15th. That's the date we're all waiting for, when the full game-changing JWST dataset is scheduled to be released to the public. This isn't just another observation. This is our ultimate arbiter. Webb's powerful infrared eyes have peered directly into the comet's heart, its nucleus, and the gases of its coma, collecting a level of detail we simply never had before. We're talking about a complete chemical fingerprint of this object. This data will show us its exotic chemistry and confirm its true interstellar origins. It has the power to silence the controversy once and for all. The data could come back and show us that yes, 3I/Atlas is a strange and wonderful natural object, but a natural one nonetheless. Or it could escalate this into the most serious and profound debate in human history. If Webb's data validates the presence of compounds or structures that defy a natural explanation, then everything we think we know could change in an instant. So here's where we stand. We have a mysterious interstellar object that moves like a rock but pulses like a machine. Our space agencies are scrambling their assets for a closer look on October 3rd, while our world leaders hold secret meetings to prepare for the unknown. The next few weeks are a critical period of observation and data drops that could redefine our place in the universe. We are going to be covering every single moment of this unfolding story. You do not want to miss what comes next. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss an update, and join us as we count down to these critical dates. Thanks for watching.